everything somebody says is honest, so you can't really trust a resume because, like, we've all exaggerated a little bit about our professional background.
Just a little.
Yeah. So, like,
The Career Challenges Podcast, a collection of stories about overcoming professional hurdles and learning lessons the hard way. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Kyle Werkerly, Certified Ghostwriter. My guest for episode 3 of the Career Challenges podcast is Caroline Thompson of Social Granola. Based in Mobile, Alabama, her resourcefulness has enabled her to thrive and build her own content marketing agency, Social Granola. We had a great conversation about overcoming obstacles, even when your journalism teacher says he'd never hire you in a million years. Caroline Thompson, you are the organic marketing guru. Did I say that right?
yes, you did.
All right. And so what does that mean exactly for the uninitiated?
So I help health and wellness coaches and brands market themselves organically and kind of feel good about marketing, because there is such a bad, it gives people a bad taste in their mouth. A lot of people who are in this kind of industry don't feel good about selling their products and services because they really started out to help people, and then they just feel icky when they have to promote themselves. So that's kind of what I do. I help them market themselves without sounding like an ass, basically.
Definitely. And so obviously you didn't decide when you were younger, I'm going to be the organic marketing guru. Can you explain to me how that process came about, how you decided at what point to become what you are now?
Well, it's funny, I saw like a meme the other day or something that was like, we are the generation of lost marine biologists, because everybody my age grew up wanting to be a marine biologist, just like me. And because we thought that we could just play with dolphins all day, and that's apparently not what happens. So so after that, after my dreams were crushed, I realized I was terrible at science, and I went to college at the University of Alabama and was a journalism major. And I really did not like school. I didn't like traditional classes. I grew up, my teachers hated me because I couldn't sit still. I talked too much. It was just a nightmare. And in fact, my journalism professor told me that he would never hire me in a million years, because I was just not in the environment where I could thrive. And so when it was junior year in college, I got into a terrible car accident, was ejected from the car at 100 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And I had to be pulled out of school for a semester. And everything kind of switched from there. Like, I was in such a closed mindset growing up. And then after that, it was like, okay, life is actually really short. And I know I'm not happy where I am right now, and I think there's more out there. And so right when I got better, got back into school, and then that summer I postponed school for a few months to go backpack Europe. And that was the first time I'd really been international. And after that, it was like, okay, there's a huge world out here. I can do so much more with my life. So then I got back to school, finished up, and moved out to California and got my first job at a digital marketing agency. And it's kind of grown from there. I really honed my journalism skills into the marketing industry. And I always tell people, if you are looking for good marketing help, journalists that's where you're going to find really good talent, because they can write, they research like crazy, they fact check, we're pretty cool. Let me just say that.
I agree. And I've been reading that with newspaper and print the print media just kind of going downhill, that a lot of journalists are switching over to PR and digital marketing. So that
Mhm.
obviously makes sense, and there's a wealth of open talent there. But even
Mhm.
for me, I don't come from a journalism background. I'm a certified ghostwriter. I just started writing books and working up into that. But I was surprised at how much research I actually had to do. And the irony is, my father is a wildlife biologist, not a marine biologist, but a wildlife
Cool.
biologist,
Mhm.
and he did a lot of research, just a ton of research, and we get up at 4 a.m. and do these elk studies. And when it finally hit me, I want to say about a year into this journey to become a ghostwriter, that was the commitment it was going to take, getting up early and just really diving into it, and not running from it. And so all that research and getting into it actually made me a better writer. The only thing that really was distasteful was reading all that material, because some of it was just very, very, very dry, as you
Oh yeah.
probably know.
Oh yeah, I know. And it makes you like it it baffles me how little people actually just use Google to get their questions answered. Like it just makes you so much more resourceful. Like you can find the answer somewhere, and if you really can't, like then ask somebody. But yeah, I think like having that research mindset, that's such a huge skill to have, and just figuring stuff out. Everything is figure outable. So
hmm Do you
yeah.
have an example of that, of when you basically resourced and researched your way to the answer you wanted?
Oh my God, every single day. Like right now, I'm getting into like click funnels and stuff, and just kind of figuring it out as I go. I would say, God, literally everything. I can't even like think of it. I mean, Facebook ads. So my specialty is organic marketing, but
hmm
there are always times where Facebook ads do come into play. And I really haven't ever like done a lot with them, but I'm trying to figure it out now and just learning as I go and testing things. So it's literally everything I've learned up until this point. Most of it I've had to be self-taught in. So
Wow. So what does organic marketing look like specifically? Because you mentioned it's not exactly Facebook ads or social media.
it is social media. So it's more like it's anything but paid ads.
Okay.
So I think they have a place and a time, but I think what happens is a lot of people just start boosting their stuff and start throwing money at advertising, and that, like I always say, every time you boost a post, Zuckerberg laughs, because it's literally just like you're wasting your money.
hmm
Um, and it has a time and a place. It needs to be in your sales funnel. There has to be a point to it. So most of what I do is I help brands tell their story basically, and connect with their readers on a more personal level. And I think and another analogy that I put it as is content marketing is like buying a house and like buying real estate on the
hmm
internet, whereas paid ads are like renting
hmm
space, and it's very temporary. So that's kind of how I look at it. It could mean anything from social media to like forums, to just like web copy, blog posting, just anything that's helping build your online presence that you're not paying for,
hmm
I guess you could say.
So you do all of that, the answering questions on a forum, putting out Facebook posts or social media posts or blog posts, even writing articles?
Yes, yeah, I do that. I do that for I teach brands how to do it. Like I'll create the strategy for them. And I also do it for them. It's really just depends on what they need.
What they need. All right. So what does your client base look like right now? Like, what is the type of niche that you're working in right now?
So a lot of my clients are in the health and wellness spaces. It's a lot of like health practitioners, medical practices, and then wellness brands. And I'm launching a new training program for health coaches and health practitioners to kind of learn how to market themselves and feel good about it. So there's the done for you marketing side of my agency is kind of the bigger brands. And then I'm kind of going down and helping some of the people who can't really afford like a marketing agency, but they know they need to learn how to market themselves better. So it's kind of two facets to it.
Wow. So you have those two sides going at once, then you got to juggle all that.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're keeping busy there.
Oh yeah.
So how did you get into the healthcare, the health niche, or the health and wellness niche?
It's funny. So I live in Alabama. I live in Mobile, Alabama, and I moved out to California right after college and lived there for 3 years. And when I first moved out there, I was like, what is this place? Like, why are people running at 5 a.m. on a Saturday? Like, did they not go out the night before? What is happening? And I realized that, okay, well, no, I just grew up like a fat ass. Like, that's how,
there you go.
That's how we think here. Like, there's no, like, I literally thought that eating a lean cuisine every night was healthy, because the amount of education on nutrition and actual health is so lacking here, that it just blew my mind. And it's so fascinating to me, learning about how you can actually, like, the whole biohacking trend is really fascinating to me, and just learning how to live in a better life in general. So I started taking on some writing clients. Like, I would write their blog posts for them in that space. And I was like, okay, I really like doing this. Like, I've worked with like financial groups and I've had such random clients, and who like you're excited to work with. And then there's others you're like, oh my God, if I have to write about one more like financial blog, I would swear I will die. So,
yes.
So some things just come naturally to you. And that was the health and wellness space for me. And it's such a huge industry now. And there's so much opportunity. So that's kind of how I got into it.
All right. So I got 2 questions then. Okay. What kind of thought leadership do you follow in the health and wellness field for yourself personally? What authors do you like to read, or what authors' material do you like to read?
I look to like Mind Body Green a lot, and a lot of Abraham Hicks is really interesting to me. A lot of the like mindset wellness is really interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And I have this girl that I talk to twice a week. Her name is Shiva Fit on Instagram. She's really great to follow, and there's quite a few. I haven't even been able to like keep up with specific ones. I'm always looking at new ones on LinkedIn and Facebook. There's just so much content out there. So it's all over the place, really. All right. People that I really follow are more like mindset and business oriented.
Yeah, I can see that. Because I remember reading from Navy. He was a Navy SEAL, and of course I forgot his name. But he talking about the SEAL mindset and how it's really more mind over your body. And I can remember trying to psych myself out one time when I was doing a run, and I hit that wall, where you just feel like you can't go any further. I'm like, oh, it's the 40%. And I tried to run, but I'm like, I can't do that. And so I literally had to stop. And so even though there's that mindset coaching, I realized, well, there's still that physical side of it that you have to build up. And so it's, I did some more reading as well. So not just the mindset, but also the physical side. But anyway, and of course, now I can't remember the name either, just like you.
There are people in my head. There is another one. His name is Stephen Kotler. He, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he specializes in like the state of flow and how to kind of hack your mind into being in that flow state constantly. I went and saw him in San Francisco. He was teaching a class at Creative Live. I don't know if you know who Chase Jarvis is, but he owns that studio.
Yeah, I've probably heard of him. I just can't remember right now.
Yeah, and it's such a cool place. They selected a few people to come watch these like live classes, and I got to like hang out with him afterwards, and we went out, like me and a few people went out to eat and stuff with him, and then he ended up because he was an award-winning journalist before he kind of got into this state of flow thing, and he works with like major athletes and just people, major like big entrepreneurs in this field, and he actually helped like coach me through this big article that I was doing on I was interviewing one of my favorite bands, and he's just like, he's an incredible person to follow because his like education on science and like, I guess, happiness and bringing them together. And it's amazing. So.
Wow. Oh, so the other question I had too, you said there's so much opportunity in the health and wellness field. How does one break into that?
As in what part? Like as like marketing or as what part?
Well, as a writer in that field, if you wanted to write for, say, Stephen Kotler, what would be the steps that you would suggest somebody could do to do that?
Okay. Yeah, I tell people to start a blog immediately. Start building a portfolio with that. There are plenty of places you can submit articles, like Mind Body Green. You need to be submitting things to that, and keeping up with the trends. Like what do people want to hear and why at this moment? And just start writing. I mean, and putting it online, because when I was out in California, I had no portfolio really. Like I had a couple articles that I wrote in college, but nothing like amazing. And I just started this little like blog that I had and submitted a couple pieces to a local magazine, which it was one of the biggest magazines in Southern California. And they let me come on, and I got to use their name to interview some really incredible people. So just piggyback. You're going to have to do it for free for a while, but, and it's funny though, because somebody at my old job, I told them that I wanted to quit the 9-to-5 and go more into the writing side. And she was like, writers do not make money. And I hear that still. And I'm like, well, no, I know people who charge $10,000 to write like a few pages on a website. Like people can make good money. You've got to build a portfolio and prove that you're worth that. So, yeah, just starting a blog. I mean, you have to. It's just a non-negotiable. And then submitting it to different online publications like Mind Body Green and entrepreneur.com and stuff like that is a good way to build up your reputation.
All right. And so what brought you back to Mobile from Los Angeles?
We had some health issues in the family. My little brother actually started having seizures out of nowhere, and both of my grandfathers got sick at the same time. And I just realized it was too far to, if anything like just really terrible happened, I just want to be closer. So, and I love to travel. So I like to have a home base that is more affordable than California.
Definitely.
And then travel around. So.
Definitely. And I hear that, California has this housing issue. They don't have enough affordable housing for the people there. And yet I read an article about California being named the most innovative state by some magazine or body of authority out there. And I thought if they really are that innovative, they would have solved that problem.
We have to be innovative to find a living space. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got to get creative.
Mm-hmm.
If they mean innovative, like build their own shelter, I guess so.
Maybe they might just have to do that. So when you came back to Mobile, what were the challenges that you had to overcome to do what you did there in Southern California, there on the coast of Alabama?
Ooh, that's a good question. When I lived in California, I was surrounded by very, very motivated people who could help me get places that I couldn't do myself. I networked with crazy, awesome people like Jordan Harbinger at the Art of Charm. Well, he's not there anymore. Stephen Kotler, some really cool musicians. And so when I moved back, I was like, oh my God, like I let that slip through my fingers. I'm not going to be able to network with people like that anymore. I'm going to kind of fizzle out and I'll be like a burnout or a one-hit wonder. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, like the internet has just made it so possible for you to do anything from anywhere. Like I meet, like online, I meet so many amazing people. Like Mandy McEwen, she's a big person in the marketing field. And I'm copywriting for her. So there's a lot of opportunity, and you just got to put yourself out there and get into like different like Facebook groups or just make yourself known, and reach out. Like people love to be complimented. It doesn't matter how big of a name they are or what. And it's just be unique, like introduce yourself in a unique way, and provide value that other people aren't. And I mean, you just have to find creative ways to make yourself stand out. But it's so much easier for us now, being able to kind of create a name for yourself remotely and not having to spend all this money and live in California or New York. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. So do you feel there's, I guess, talking more macro level now, I guess we're getting a little off topic. Do you feel there's kind of this old mindset still in place and people just don't recognize the opportunity that's there? Either nobody has made them aware of it, or nobody's really successful at that yet. And so nobody has really thought, oh, I can do what Caroline Thompson is doing, even in Mobile, Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I think so. There's two sides to it, because that's a big reason why I don't really market myself locally. Like I don't really work with local clients, because that old school mindset is still much a thing down here. And then also when it comes to like breaking out on your own and building a name for yourself, I think there absolutely is a lot of, I guess you could say, people are limiting themselves way too much because of ego. I think people are just playing a victim a lot. I post about it a lot today, and there's a million reasons why you can't do something, but it's your own fault. Like now in today's world, like you can literally make anything happen from where you are now. So you don't have to move around and make something happen for yourself. It's just putting yourself out there. And I think a lot of people are scared to do that because, and I know that I suffer with this too. Imposter syndrome is a huge problem, especially when you're a creative person, and thinking you're not good enough, or you don't know the right people or whatever. But I'm literally what is it called? The perfect example of that, because nobody knew who I was. It wasn't because I lived in California that I got to meet some of these amazing people. Like I became the personal assistant for one of the biggest names in Alabama, the Warners, and got to network with them. And I got to meet the God, I'm so dumb. I don't keep up with politics, but the justice of the court. What do they call?
And here you are talking about.
Right?
There you go. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm not up with politics either, but yet here you are talking about limiting beliefs, and then you just called yourself dumb. I'm just going to point that out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I can't even keep up with politics because it stresses me out. But
me too. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just about like you fake it till you make it, but only if you can kind of back it up. Like, so, and I think people beat themselves up a little bit too much and limit themselves way too much, because literally you can make anything happen. I mean, I think it really helps that my parents would say things like, if they would always say, I would say that I couldn't find something. They're like, I swear to God, if I come in there and find it, like, I'm going to be so pissed.
My parents would do that too. I would be looking in the fridge, nowhere to be found, but my dad walks over and, oh my gosh, there it is.
Yep.
Like, are you kidding me?
Terrified. Yeah, I was terrified of that, but it made me so resourceful. Like, I'm going to figure it out myself. Like, I don't need, asking for help is crucial when you do actually need it.
Yeah.
But there's so much you can figure out and do for yourself. You just have to do it.
Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah, it takes that chutzpah is what they would call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you it's not just you anymore in your business. You said you've got 2 VAs working for you. Can you talk to me a little bit about that process?
So when I've been freelancing for like 4 years, and then this past year is when I transitioned into agency, which I've always I would say that I've been like an agent in the agency mindset, but I just didn't feel like I was worthy of calling myself that, which is such crap. But I realized that I took on way more than I could handle, and there were tasks here and there that I didn't need to be wasting my time on. And I was watching these like YouTube videos about Filipino VAs. And I was like, this sounds too good to be true. Like, you could pay, their minimum wage is $3 an hour, but I pay them more than that. But I mean, for $5 to $6 up to $10 an hour, you can hire somebody full time to do administrative work or to do graphic design. So that's how I have my graphic designer is from over there, and my general assistant is from over there.
Wow.
And then I bring in like contractors for like writing whenever I need it for some clients.
Okay. And so you had talked about before we started the program that you had to learn that process of hire slow and fire fast. So what was that like?
Oh my God. I'm not a human relations person, and it is tough. I have so much respect for people who in the human relations industry, because the hiring process is so difficult. And the firing process is 10 times more difficult. And if you think that it's easier just because you don't have to do it in person, it's not. So when I first, when I find something like that piques my interest, I'm all in to a fault most of the time. And when I found out about hiring people overseas, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, life hack. I'm never going to do anything ever again. And so I would find people that I was like, oh, like, I really like this person, like blah, blah, blah. And realize that they just didn't have the skills I needed. I really was hiring based on who I was like vibing with and what their resume said, instead of asking for like examples of their work and getting them to do a test assignment and really seeing if they're being 100% honest online with what they can do. And And so I went through a few people where it was like, oh my God, like I feel so terrible, but I know 3 days in this is not going to work out. And it's tough because when I bring people on board, I tell them, you will be rewarded for your work. Like if you really help me succeed, I'm going to help you. Like a lot of perks. So to kind of rip that out from under them, it's tough. But now it's developing thicker and thicker skin. I think I set the bar very high for them, and I tell them what I expect. And if they don't follow through, then I mean, it's not my fault. So yeah, it's tough though.
So have you come up with your own process for, I guess, scouting talent and then finding out if they're the right match for what you need them to do? Do you have a process for that?
Yes. So in my job description, I make sure to include a sentence where it's like, put the word like coffee somewhere in your application to know so that I know you read everything. Or applications will not be considered if you don't automatically send me your resume and proof of work and stuff like that. And when people just reply with, hey, saw your post, how do I apply? Then they're automatically X'd because yes. I am such a detail-oriented person and I need somebody to be very detail-oriented. So that's a no. And then I always get them to do a test assignment to see if it works out. And then I ask for references. So I'm a lot more, I dig a lot deeper now. I've learned my lesson because not everything somebody says is honest. So you can't really trust a resume because like we've all exaggerated a little bit about our professional background.
Just a little.
Yeah. So like some of the shit that I used to put on my resume, I was like, oh God, please don't ask me about this. So, I mean, I don't anymore because now I have the experience, but when you're first starting out, you kind of embellish. So I learned from my own experience that I did that. So I kind of proceed with caution now.
And do you feel that's part of your fake it till you make it mentality?
I think so. It's been that's actually been a really big thing I've seen pop up lately. People are getting found out left and right. A lot of fake it till you make it people are really getting put through the ringer. So I think it's confidence wise, fake it till you make it, absolutely. But don't make up an entire like job or skill and then I mean you're only gonna get screwed. So but yeah, I think mindset, fake it till you make it really helps me. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that was a great answer. So another question I have is, and I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on this kind of human resources approach, but we are talking about career challenges, and even freelancers or small agencies, one person type places that do need to hire help. It's helpful to know what works for other people who do that, and so that's kind of why I'm stuck on there. And but is there a specific kind of background that just kind of pops out at you that, okay, this person might be a good fit? Just because they have the background doesn't automatically mean they get the job, but you see that kind of background and you think, okay, maybe this person is more in line with what I'm looking for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think because I have that journalism background and I know that it may sound like journalism and marketing are two totally separate fields, that there are very much similarities, and that can actually be a really good thing, getting somebody who has been in a different field to kind of bring those skills over. So I contracted out some writing one time to a girl who used to be a nurse. And she liked to write on a blog or whatever, but she had that like health background that I needed. for some of my clients. So that really came in handy because she was able to look at it in a different perspective and as an actual health practitioner. So I think like it just depends on really what you're looking for. But if they can bring in skills that aren't usually considered like, I don't even know what I'm saying, but
you know when you see it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like if they've been able to kind of, I wouldn't say, no, okay, let me say this. I do look for people who have been in jobs for a while before, or have had clients that they've worked with for an extended period of time, because that's huge for me. I'm such a reviews person, and like, I go through extreme lengths to look at how something is backed up. Like if I go to a new hair salon, you better believe I'm going to spend half a day looking at their reviews. So I'm really a fan of social proof. So that's why I kind of ask for references as well.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So then on the flip side of that, has there been a good surprise where somebody they may not have had the background, or at face value, it didn't look like they were a fit, but they did everything you asked them to do, and it ended up, working out? Do you have an example of that?
Oh yeah. One guy had my general VA. I hired him in the beginning to write blogs for me, but we didn't have like the same kind of writing style. And I'm very much more like, I put humor in a lot, and I'm very like dry. And he's Filipino, so the mannerisms just didn't add up. But he's super resourceful and can figure stuff out like on the fly. So he's helped me a lot with kind of looking at things creatively and finding new avenues of marketing, and just helping out with general VA stuff that I really never knew I needed until I got it. I was like, oh wow, okay, this is saving me so much time. So yeah, if something, I mean, if it's not working out, it's not working out. But if they have other strengths, I mean, they can provide value in other areas of your business. It just depends on what they're doing and what makes them happy as well, because I know that I wouldn't want to move him into that role if he really, really loves writing. So, because I know that, I mean, he's not going to want to do that kind of stuff forever, but it's worked out. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad I asked that question. Yeah. So then you had mentioned your organic marketing course that you're putting together, right? Can you talk more about that?
Yes. So I have been in the content marketing arena for about 5 years now. And I've noticed that people are really hard on themselves about, like I said earlier, marketing themselves, but also creating content to market themselves. Because I used to struggle with it too. Like, what should I post today? What I know I need a blog, but I don't know what I'm going to write about. And I think a lot of the disconnect is starting at square one and figuring out who your ideal client is and who you need to be talking to. Because if you don't have that information down pat, and you don't have like the ideal client persona down, you could wind up posting in the wrong places, using the wrong platforms, talking to somebody totally different, and bringing in a totally different audience. So that's kind of what I'm creating, is I'm helping health practitioners and wellness coaches, and really any kind of solopreneurs who struggle with marketing themselves and creating content, showing them that it's not difficult, and it can come very naturally to you. But you just have to tackle that first crucial step. and really realize like what you're trying to accomplish and who you're talking to before you just start talking, because it's not going to resonate with anyone if you're talking to everyone. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's kind of what it's about. It's going to be a 6-week program, and so we'll start with that, getting really clear on your ideal client and your message and your mission. And then I'm going to show them kind of my hacks to how I create all my months worth of content in one day and stuff like that. So
will this be more of a hands-on for you, or are you going to be giving live feedback?
Yeah, so this is my first year, so I'm going to have more of a select few group come on and be founding members. So they're really going to shape how this course is going to play out later on, because I really want to bring people through it and provide as much value as I can, because it's tough when you've reached a certain level in your field to kind of look back and put yourself back in your shoes when you didn't know all this stuff. And
the curse of knowledge. Yes.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to say dumb yourself down, because that's not it. It's just you there's so much that I have in my head that now it's just like habit to me. Mm-hmm. So that's why I really want to bring people through at a much lower price now, so that they can help me help them. And so yeah, there'll be like videos that they'll watch and modules that they'll do, and then it'll be a live Q&A once a week to go over everything. So yeah.
Awesome. And so when can people expect that? Has it launched, and if not, when can people expect that?
No, I'm having a webinar on May 15th at 2 p.m. Central Time to kind of discuss it. And then I'll probably roll it out sometime in June. Probably awesome. June, the beginning of June.
Beginning of June. Awesome.
I guess everybody can just go find me at socialgranola.com. That's all my social media platforms too, is under Social Granola. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, Caroline Thompson, thank you very much for your time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's been fun.
Awesome. All right. Would you like to be a guest on the Career Challenges podcast? Visit thecareerchallengespodcast.com to find out how you can share your story. Eager to share your story with a wider audience and enhance your brand? Visit weckerlywriter.com. That's WECKERLYWRITER.com to discover how you can begin your author journey. What are you waiting for?